The room was silent, too silent. Not the kind of stillness found in peace, but the compressed breath before a scream. Dr. Halleck's V-wire stood behind a pane of observation glass, his 4 eyes narrowed at the human subject on the other side. Lights flickered across the walls of the containment room. Cold steel. Medical restraints. Electrodes. Monitors blinked with biometric data, blood pressure, neural spikes, cortisol levels, all steady. Disturbingly steady. The subject, designated Specimen H11, sat barefoot in the chair. No weapons. No armor. Just a soft gray shirt and the kind of vacant stare that unnerved even the most experienced xenoneurologists. "He's not reacting," Halleck muttered. His voice crackled through the translator band on his collar. "Initiate second phase stimuli." His assistant, a young Glork technician with trembling hands, flipped the switch. On the screen, a holographic assault began. A phalanx of false war beasts, twice the size of Earth elephants, roared into the room, visual illusions, but near-perfect recreations from the Krieg Wars. Teeth. Fire. Screams. The human blinked. Nothing else. Halleck's secondary hearts fluttered in confusion. "What in the void?" "Fear response is flat," said Commander Sethek from the far corner. The Scalthari warlord's voice oozed with distaste. "You said these creatures were volatile? Unstable. Yet this one stares death in the face and blinks like he's bored." Halleck's mandibles clicked in frustration. "I don't understand. Every known species registers elevated vitals when exposed to trauma simulations. Every one, except this." Sethek's golden eyes narrowed. "Then perhaps you've found a defective." "No," Halleck said flatly. "He's the control subject. A medic from the Tarsus 9 engagement. One of the bloodiest campaigns in Galactic history. He pulled 17 soldiers out of a collapsed bunker, while under artillery fire. Alone." Sethek growled low. "He doesn't look like a warrior." "He isn't." That made the silence heavier. Suddenly, the human turned his head toward the glass. His gaze met Halleck's directly, through layers of shielding, reflection, and tech. No malice. No fear. Just awareness. Halleck flinched. "He knows we're watching. He wants you to," said a new voice. They turned. Standing at the door was Admiral Raina Miles of the Terran Unity Defense Corps. Her uniform was crisp, unmarred. Her eyes were anything but. The commander's presence was sharp, danger honed into leadership. "You're poking at things you don't understand," she said, stepping into the room. "Measuring fear like it's a number. But fear in humans isn't something you see on a chart." Halleck frowned. "Admiral Miles, this is a scientific inquiry. Not military." "Oh, it's military now," she replied. "The Coalition Council saw your report. Human emotional resilience, unpredictable, possibly unstable, potential threat. You opened a door, Doctor. And now you want to close it because something looked back." Sethek growled again. "The human is unfit for integration into intergalactic forces. If they can't be controlled, they must be neutralized." Raina stepped forward. "You think fear is weakness? For us, it's fuel. Fear made us build bunkers on barren moons. Fear taught us to fight smarter, harder, longer. But when fear breaks, when a human stops fearing you, that's when the real nightmare begins." A low hum sounded, an alert. The subject's heart rate had spiked, but not from fear. Action. Without warning, the human leapt from his chair. Restraints shattered like paper. The force of his movement triggered alarms. Halleck shouted, "Emergency protocol! Lockdown!" The guards inside the chamber, 2 automated sentries, activated stun beams. Too late. The human was already moving. Swift, precise, calm. In seconds, both drones were scrap. He stood in the center of the smoke and sparking metal, not even breathing hard. Eyes still cold. Still focused. "He let you study him," Admiral Miles whispered, half awed. "Let you think he was weak. But now Now he wants you to understand. Halleck stumbled backward. This is an attack. No, Reyna said. This is a warning. The subject turned to the wall and scrawled something into the scorched plating with a piece of shattered metal. 2 words. We remember. The lights died. For 3 seconds, the lab was darkness and sirens. When emergency power kicked in, he was gone. Cliffhanger. Above the observation center, a covert Terran stealth ship decloaked in orbit. Its message, intercepted by Sethek's command channel, was brief. Phase 1 complete. Extraction successful. Tell them we remember Tarsus. Sethek stared, jaw clenched. You've made enemies of monsters. Reyna answered without flinching. No. We made soldiers out of survivors. The chamber doors hissed shut behind Lieutenant Ian as the briefing room lights dimmed, revealing a suspended holomap of the Orion Rift. The human presence, once limited to fractured colonies, now pulsed across contested sectors like red scars. General Vetra, leader of the unified Galactic Authority, paced in silence before the council. His tendrils flicked in agitation, and his voice, usually confident, trembled. The data was confirmed last cycle, he said. The human's fear response does not follow baseline sentient parameters. It plateaus. A ripple of silence swept through the gathered species, Zar dominators, Valari tacticians, Erwin priests, each processing the impossible. Ian's claws tightened around the datasheet. Explain, she demanded. Vetra turned. At 72% neural stress, all species submit. Cognitive decline begins. But the human subject, Sergeant Kao Ren, remains stable at 94%. No panic. No hormonal overload. Instead, motor function increased. Heart rate stabilized. Focus sharpened. You're saying fear enhances them? Whispered the Valari Chancellor. No. I'm saying they treat fear like fuel. Across the rift, aboard the human frigate Resolute, Sergeant Kao Ren ran a finger over the scar behind his ear, the implant that once saved his life on Epsilon Prime. He remembered the day vividly, oxygen at 3%, ribs shattered, lungs collapsing, but he hadn't frozen. He hadn't panicked. He had moved. He had dragged Corporal Delane through a mile of fire, shooting blind, coughing blood, daring the impossible, because in that moment, fear didn't paralyze him. It clarified him. And now, command had recalled him. Sir, said Lieutenant Mora, handing him the decoded packet. Her voice held tension. It's from Orion Command. They've reclassified you. Not as a soldier, but as data. Kale scanned the message. His name was attached to a project codename, Null Fear Protocol. Back at UJ Command, Vetra's private quarters. Ian entered without asking. You should have told us sooner. Vetra rubbed his mandibles. I didn't want to believe it. She slammed a data chip on the desk. There are 17 more subjects. All showed similar results. They don't break under fear, Vetra. They evolve. Then we've already lost. He whispered. Not yet, she replied. But we need to understand them. Planet Droker 4, Training Simulation Room. Kale stood in the observation cell, hooked into neural sensors. The room before him morphed, a simulation of the Dusk Massacre on Pharos 7. In the gallery above, UJ's scientists monitored every neural spike. The atmosphere thickened. The temperature rose. Enemy silhouettes emerged, grotesque, monstrous, countless. The speakers blared. Fear scenario initiated. Kale's pulse rose, then leveled. His breath deepened. Muscles tightened, not in terror but readiness. He didn't scream. He smiled. Below, Kale tore through the simulation like a myth made flesh. 10 minutes later, the walls were scorched, the dummies shattered, and the fear index flatlined. End simulation, Mora whispered. But Kale kept going. He wasn't done. Elsewhere, deep in the archives of Zerat Prime, the ancient datakeepers whispered in circles of blue fire. One elder trembled. The prophecy warned of a species without fear. They weren't supposed to exist. The humans aren't fearless, said the archivist. They just make fear obey. They retrieved an ancient codex. Protocol Terminus. It bore a symbol long forgotten, a red spiral within a broken eye. In Terran dialect, it meant, last weapon. UGA Council War Chamber. Ian slammed her fist on the table. We started this war assuming they'd crumble under pressure. But they're pressure incarnate, the Council murmured. The Valari Chancellor hissed. Then perhaps it's time we push them too far. Ian narrowed her eyes. Be careful. Every time they're cornered, they don't just survive. They transform. Meanwhile, orbit above Earth. Kale sat alone in the observation deck. Stars stretched endlessly, indifferent and cold. Why did you volunteer? Mora asked quietly beside him. He didn't look at her. Because the galaxy thinks we're reckless. Fragile. Prone to emotion. She nodded. And we are. He finally looked up. But when they pushed us, when they burned our colonies, took our people, bombed our cities, we didn't beg. We bled. We endured. Silence lingered before Kale whispered. Fear isn't our weakness. It's their miscalculation. The galactic sky above Sector Zeta 4 was ablaze. From orbit, the battle resembled fire dancing across black velvet, explosions from UGA cruisers crashing against Earth's defense grid, their precision overwhelmed by raw defiance. The humans weren't defending. They were retaliating. On the bridge of the Resolute, Sergeant Kale Wren stood at the command rail, helmet under one arm, gaze locked on the tactical map. Red swarmed the perimeter, enemy ships, hundreds. Too many. Lieutenant Mora approached, tight-jawed. They're jamming quantum links. No reinforcements, no retreat. Kale didn't blink. Then we hold. Every second buys Earth more breath. Mora's voice cracked. You can't hold a perimeter with 14 fighters. You can't, he said, locking eyes. If the fighters are human. UGA command ship, Vigilance. General Vetra watched the battle unfold with gritted mandibles. They should have broken by now, he muttered. This isn't strategy, it's madness. Ian's voice came cold and clear behind him. No, General. It's evolution. She stepped forward, datapad in hand. Our AI simulators failed. Our bioscans underestimated stress response. But I ran old human war footage. From their own dark ages. She pulled up an ancient video, a trench soldier crawling through mud, gas seeping in, comrades screaming, and yet he moved forward. Ian looked up. You can't measure fear in humans. Because fear doesn't stop them. It focuses them. Battlefield, Earth's orbit. Kale launched out of the hangar in an old Falcon-class interceptor retrofitted with scavenged tech and fury. Enemy drones lit up his HUD, locking in. He didn't dodge. He accelerated. Kale, they've got you boxed in. Mora shouted. No. They've got a cage. And I'm the reason it won't hold. 3 enemy fighters closed in. Kale flipped the Falcon into a death spiral, fired flares, then cut his engines. Silence. His ship dropped dead in space, and the drones overshot. Surprise, he muttered, reigniting thrusters. Plasma cannons roared. Drones exploded in a blaze of electric confetti. Fear test round 2, Kale said. Still no panic. UGA Council emergency session. Panic now gripped the Council itself. They're collapsing our left flank. They don't know surrender. They have no queen, no god, no directive. Vetra finally spoke. They have something worse, memory. The Council turned. Every time we strike them, they remember. Every scar, every loss, every broken promise, it becomes a lesson. A fuel source. We tried to break them with fear. But we only taught them how to weaponize it. The Valari Chancellor hissed. Then what do you propose? Vetra stared coldly at the display of Earth. We surrender. Or we burn. Earth's surface, Recovery Zone Alpha. Hours later, ash still floated across the battlefield. The silence was unbearable. Kale stood among wreckage, ships smoldering, allies buried beneath broken steel. Mora approached him. You did it. No. We endured it. She looked to the sky. They'll be back. They always come back. What do we do then? Kale picked up a cracked UGA banner and tossed it into the fire. We'll remind them again. She glanced at him. What's left to fear? Kale finally smiled. Nothing. Not anymore. Final debrief, Zared Archives. The ancient datakeepers gathered for the last transmission. The hologram flickered, Sergeant Kale Wren's final battle logs. In the recording, he stood bloodied but standing, among ruins. You tried to study our fear. To exploit it. But you misunderstood what it is to be human. Fear doesn't control us. It connects us. It wakes us. It sharpens us. You built an empire on obedience. We built our legacy on defiance. You fear what you don't understand. That's why you fear us. The screen cut to black. A single message followed. Homo sapiens Apex protocol confirmed.